Yeah, that was Crime-Free Christmas by Busy Signal. Over the last few weeks, the parish of Westmoreland has been in the news with several shootings and murders taking place, which is a cause for concern. This is a residence, but I believe it is for all of us. We have Custos of Westmoreland, Reverend Hartley Perrin, on the line to discuss this. Morning, Rev.
Rev, what going on?
Good morning, good morning. Happy to be here this
man.
morning.
All is well?
All is well, as they can be.
Yeah. What Delia just said is true. Things are happening in Westmoreland, but it concerns all of us, and things are happening right across the country. Is this a suggestion that there's more violence, more killings in Westmoreland as opposed to the rest of the country, or are you just concerned that you are the Custos, you're in Westmoreland, you don't want to see any kind of violence at all?
No, Westmoreland has had an upsurge in the number of murders in the last couple of weeks. But I'm happy to say that things have improved in the last couple of days, or perhaps a week or so. We have not had any murder since a couple of days now, and unless something had happened last night, I'm not aware, but certainly for the last week or so, there has been a significant decline, and we are back to what we used to be at a normal level.
That's great news, sir. Could you pinpoint what was going on, why we had murders? Is there anything specific going on there, or is just badness taking over the place?
There are a number of gangs that are in Westmoreland and in the Savalamar area in particular. There are two communities, Dexter and the Dallin Street community, and they are warring factions, if you'd like to call them that. And from time to time, they have their own issues that they deal with in a most alarming way. And conflict resolution is what is needed in terms of how people relate to each other in the space.
I'm listening, Rev, and if my memory serves me right, a couple of years ago, could be a little bit, there was a gang problem in Westmoreland. I remember police forces, the soldiers had to ramp up their presence, and what they did, they dismantled a number of gangs there. What is it about the area that seems to feed into this gang concept and the formation of the gangs and the sustainability of the gangs?
There is a deficiency in terms of infrastructural development in these communities. One of the communities that was causing concern a few years ago was one called Russia.
Yes.
From Russia with Love. And a lot of money would have been pumped into Russia in terms of developing its infrastructure, its roads, its water, its schooling, in terms of building schools. And we have not heard anything in recent times about any crime and violence in Russia. But these areas are in dire need of intervention in terms of social work and in terms of building out the community in a sustainable way. I think what has happened now, while there is a decline, is that we have been able, apart from having the soldiers still, we have been able to have an influx of about over nearly 50 new policemen in the space, so that they have been able to put a lid on some of the activities and as well restrict the movement of some of the persons who are the ones implicated in the crime and violence in Westmoreland.
So my concern, Rev, is this, and so you nailed it. We knew what the challenges were in Russia. We put the programs in place. My challenge is, why do we have to put the programs in place? Why are we chasing the horse after it gone through the gate? Like, if we knew that in Russia, that solved it, why would we not? And maybe you're not even the person to respond, but why would we not
Precisely.
say, yeah, why would we
Precisely.
not say in the other communities, let's put this in place before they also become gang infested and become an issue everywhere else? There were SOEs in the communities?
Yes, and we have, of course, we have the in recent times the state of emergency,
Right.
and the police and soldiers were active there.
How
But
was that? How was that responded?
notwithstanding their activity, we still had shooting.
Okay.
The president of the Chamber of Commerce, Mr. Moses Chaibar, I think that's how it's pronounced, he said,
Yes.
you mentioned that in one area they put more police, but he said that's one of the problems. He thinks that there are not enough police officers in Westmoreland. Is that something?
Yeah, but I'm saying that in recent days, in recent weeks, a week or two, we've had additional boost of nearly 50 policemen who are not working in Westmoreland. But you can understand that this is going to be temporary, so that as soon as the police move again, when they would have felt that they have done their work, there is the possibility of an upsurge again, because really and truly, there is need for more policing, and at the same time, having these social intervention activities that would direct the people in a different way.
Yeah. Is there a demographic here that we're talking about? Are these youngsters causing the problems? Is it just right across?
Oh, yes, they are youngsters, and they are school-going youngsters, and it's not helping the fact of the pandemic, and many of them are not in school, so they are allowed to be a part of gangs. Somebody told me that the gangsters are trying to recruit youngsters from the high schools into their midst.
Yeah.
So it means that they are becoming more sophisticated, and they want to lift their gang activities to a high level. At the back of it too, there is a matter of the lottery scamming, which is still alive and well in Westmoreland and in some of these communities. So there are many factors that will be influencing the behavior of the youngsters in the Salama and Westmoreland communities.
Okay.
Yeah. What would you like to see happen, Rev?
I would like to see more of what had happened in Russia happening in those communities that are in need of infrastructural help. Coming in with the JCDC, and they're coming in as well, the government agencies and non-government agencies coming in to help the youngsters and point them in another direction.
Correct.
Because it cannot be that the only way you can resolve conflict or resolve issues would be either to burn a house down or to shoot somebody to death.
I'm sure you would have said that to the folks who need to hear that. I was just looking at Daly and said that was the same question I was going to ask, probably in a different way. If you had a chance to sit with the Minister of National Security or the Prime Minister, what would you tell the Prime Minister that you want to see in your community? What you want to see in Westmoreland? I want to see it right now. What would you say?
I would want to see, one, the police that are there right now, that they be allowed to remain. I would want to see more acceleration in terms of how we build out the communities in a structural way. Because what you see is similar to squatting, where they are informal settlers, and we need to ensure that the communities are organized in such a way that they can access amenities and they are feeling that they are persons like everybody else.
Rev,
So,
what I'm also hearing
yes.
you say is that it is not just a ministry of security or justice issue. What I'm hearing you
Right.
say is that you need to see how the Ministry of Local Government, how the Ministry of Culture, how the Ministry of Tourism all form a part of this crime plan and will come into the communities and address what is happening. I think that's the biggest problem we have. We're making it a one ministry issue and is a multi-sector issue. That's what I'm hearing from you.
Absolutely. It cannot be solved merely by the police or the soldiers coming in and locking up persons. That is a short-term band-aid way of dealing with the problem. And it helps because, especially now that Christmas is coming, everybody would prefer that the crime levels would be down and there is that sense of security. But it is a false sense because no sooner that these activities are removed, then we are back to square one. So while these activities are going on, we are holding persons, we are on the ground, preventing their movement, then we should also be ensuring that the social intervention is carried out concurrently.
Yep.
So, this is where we are supposed to be.
I pray things will improve, sir. Thanks for being with us this morning.
Yeah,
Stay
of
safe.
course, there is a fall off in economic buoyancy in Parish because of sugarcane not being around anymore.
Correct.
So in terms of job creation, in terms of areas so that they can be taught skills, all of these things are needed.
Stay safe, sir. God bless.
Thank you very much.
Our
Have
pleasure.
a good day.
Our pleasure. Thank you.
Sure.
Custos of Westmoreland, Reverend Hartley Perrin. All right, it seems to be the time for the second edition of News in 5 still to come. 10 minutes to your health. We look at the news.